The story is set in the small town of Sweetly in Minnesota on April 18, 2003. High school senior Summerfield is heading to a senior class celebration spring fling, still in shock over recent events. A serial killer, the Sweetly slasher, has already murdered 3 teenagers, Brian, Val and her best friend, Emmy. Summer is at the barn entrance with her lifelong friend, Quinn, who's holding a red envelope in his hand. He tries to give it to her but Summer brushes him off. Soon, her ex, Ethan, interrupts them and starts bothering her. Feeling pressured, Summer walks away and heads to bathroom. As Summer is in a back bathroom, the police arrives and shuts down the party and asks everyone to leave. Just then, a masked figure lunges at her with a knife and attempts to murder her. She manages to hide in a shed, but the killer finds her, attacks, and kills her. 21 years later, in 2024, Summer's family is still grieving her death. Lucy was born after her sister's murder, but she feels as though she knew her. Her parents have kept Summer's memory alive. Even her room is untouched, as if the family is frozen in 2003. Lucy can't shake the feeling that she was born to fill the void her sister left. Her parents are highly protective and don't support her decision to accept a scholarship to work far away at NASA. While sorting through her sister's belongings, Lucy finds a hidden compartment in the floor with several letters. She reads one and realizes it's a warning, signed by someone with an E. Her mother interrupts, reminding her that they're going to visit the barn where Summer lost her life, a ritual they do to remember her. Lucy slips away from her parents and steps into the exact spot where her sister died. The last thing she expects to find there is a time machine, which suddenly activates and transports her to April 16, 2003, 2 days before Summer's murder. Confused, Lucy tries calling her parents, only to discover her phone doesn't work. She wanders away and enters the high school, slowly realizing she's in 2003, an era unmistakable from its fashion. Lucy comes face to face with Summer but is too shocked to say anything. Overwhelmed, she seeks out her science teacher, who is now a slightly younger version of the one she knows in 2024. Lucy asks him about time travel, and in the classroom, she also meets Quinn, a bit of a science geek, with whom she quickly forms a connection. Quinn helps Lucy understand if what she's experiencing is actually possible. As they leave, Ethan and some of his friends start bullying Quinn, taking him to a nearby dock intending to throw him into the water to make fun of him. Summer is among the crowd watching, and although she's uncomfortable with Ethan's actions, she doesn't step in. Lucy, however, does. She confronts Ethan directly, stopping him from embarrassing Quinn. Afterward, Lucy takes a risk and decides to tell Quinn the truth, even if she sounds crazy. At first, Quinn doesn't believe her, but he starts to when she shows him her smartphone, which, of course, is completely alien to him. After asking her several questions about the future, Lucy brings him to the time machine she traveled with. Quinn repeatedly warns her that any changes she makes to the past will inevitably alter the future. But Lucy insists she can't stand by and do nothing while, in just a few hours, a disturbed killer begins targeting teenagers. In the midst of everything, Lucy talks to her sister Summer for the first time, without revealing who she really is. She also sees her parents, who don't recognize her. As she spends more time with Summer, she realizes that the letter she found hidden in her room in 2024 was written by a secret lover, none other than Summer's best friend, Emmy, who was one of the killer's victims. Now, Lucy has even more reason to intervene and prevent the murders, even if it means she might never be born. Eventually, Lucy reveals her true identity to Summer, who chooses to believe her. After a makeover to fit the 2003 style, Lucy heads to the mall where the killer first struck, claiming the lives of Brian and Val. Lucy tries to warn them, but she's too late. Brian has already been killed, and now the killer is after Val. Lucy intervenes by alerting a security guard, which completely disrupts the timeline as the guard is killed by the psychopath. Despite Lucy's attempts, Val also dies, and Quinn witnesses it all, reminding Lucy again of the consequences of changing the past. Distressed and realizing she can't stop the killer, Lucy decides to return to 2024 to avoid making things worse. However, before leaving, she needs to figure out how to operate the time machine again. Quinn helps her with this, and together they discover that 2 components must come into contact to trigger a temporal shift. Particle A laser beam, and Particle B, something called antimatter. They need to obtain the antimatter, as the machine already supplies the laser. In their investigation, they also uncover that the time machine was developed by a research and experimentation center in Swile. They deduce that the antimatter must therefore be found at the town's scientific center. By now, Lucy has convinced her sister through Emmy's letter that she has to take action to avoid losing the love of her life. What Summer doesn't know is that she'll be the killer's next target. But Lucy does know, and when she sees her sister again, she can't resist her initial plan. She's determined to save her at any cost. Quinn joins her this time, and together the three of them try to warn Emmy that the killer is after her. Emmy, wearing headphones, doesn't hear anything at first, but when she comes face to face with the killer, she runs in terror. The four manage to escape, altering the timeline more than ever. Quinn and Lucy don't know what the future holds after all these changes, but they're sure of one thing. They've saved 2 lives and given a hidden love story a chance to blossom. The next day, Lucy learns that Quinn secretly had feelings for Summer, and she opens up to her, sharing how much she's struggled, feeling like she was born to replace her. Quinn and Lucy have a heartfelt conversation in which Summer realizes just how much her death impacted her family and how much her sister is risking to save her. They've altered the timeline significantly, so why not risk it a bit more? Lucy, with Quinn's help, sneaks into the scientific research center to find the antimatter, while the barn party kicks off. This time, Summer goes to the party with a clear goal: to declare her love for Emmy and kiss her in front of everyone. After she does, she steps outside and encounters the killer, who begins chasing her. Meanwhile, Quinn and Lucy are inside the center and discover that someone has stolen the antimatter. They deduce that it was the killer, as the security guard is dead, and realize the killer must be using the time machine. Summer is now face to face with the killer in the shed, and he's ready to kill her. At that moment, Lucy and Quinn arrive, hitting him with a car. Summer jumps in, and as they're about to escape, they watch in shock as the killer starts to get up, removing his mask to reveal his face. To their complete horror, they see that the killer is none other than Quinn himself. In a state of disbelief, they flee to the location where they have the time machine. Lucy tries to activate it with the items she took from the center, just as killer Quinn arrives. As soon as he enters, he reveals his motives for becoming a murderer. He explains that Lucy's lack of intervention, because she didn't exist in his timeline, allowed Ian and the others' bullying to continue, eventually driving him to kill them all, including Summer, whom he accuses of joining in on the ridicule and ignoring his feelings for her. In a surprising turn, Quinn decides to threaten his past self, giving Lucy time to activate the machine. When the activation reaches 100%, Lucy grabs killer Quinn, and together they travel to 2024. There, they engage in a fierce struggle, during which Lucy manages to overpower him and, in a final moment, finishes him off by stabbing him. Moments later, Lucy reappears in 2003 and embraces her sister. She explains that their parents didn't recognize her in 2024 because, by saving Summer, Lucy herself was never born. Choosing to stay in 2003, Lucy finally finds the family she always dreamed of, living alongside her parents and sister, and the movie ends. So that's the end of our movie. If you've come this far, make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe my channel for more movie recaps. See you later.